Hi, I'm Valerie Engelhart, and in this video, I'm going to be using some really inexpensive, child PRANG watercolor paints to paint a kingfisher. Now, this is a follow-up to my earlier video where I painted a rainbow protea flower using these paints, using the brush it came with. But it was very primary school looking. It was fun, but it made me wonder, could I paint more in my style with these paints? So I've grabbed a couple brushes, just a size 6 round. I've got my script 1-liner. I'm just going to use these paints. I might pull out gouache later. Let's see how it goes. I really want to just stick to these. And I'm using a cut of 7 by 11 Arteza Expert watercolor paper. Right, so they actually do have wells for mixing in this, so I am probably going to be utilizing that. So I've got my blue, and that's very blue. So I'm going to grab the green. Add the lovely green. Let's grab more blue. Now, normally I start at the eye and then work my way around. But I'm afraid that I'm actually going to make the bird too big, so I am actually going to start by painting the whole thing and then hope I can just put the eye in later. And so I'm going in with my blue and green mixture. I'm actually really happy with how it looks so far. And I'm leaving some gaps for those lighter feathers. And per usual, I don't sketch when I paint, so I am just going in for it and hoping for the best. Should I have planned a little more? Maybe. That's going to be for the ending to decide. But just little brush strokes. Little bitty brush strokes around the head a bit. I think it actually comes back a bit more. Now, I like to paint really loosely, so I am going to start softening this edge at the back of the head, just with my size 6 round brush. I'm going to grab some bit here, and just bleed it off. And I'm going to soften some of it right here too, add some watermarks, which is what I'm thinking is going to happen, but we'll see. So the eye would be about right here, I think. So I'm going to bring this down a little more. Pretty good. Well, then I go ahead and start placing the beak. Let's see. Beak. It's about as wide as the head. Here's the head. Beak. Beak is going to end about here. Angle like this. Just made a little water droplet mark. And I'm going to take the blue that I already have on the head. I'm just going to drag it down to that point. And bring it back up. And honestly, I kind of like the way it looks like that. I could add more color because the beak does have far more value. But I can add that later, and I do like how this looks. So I am going to hint where that bottom of the beak is going to be. So the eye is likely right here. So I'm going to just use water. I'm going to soften this area. That's where my eye is going to be. Pretty sure. Pretty sure that's where I'm putting my eye. And because I'm keeping it nice and soft, I can change it. I'm going to lift up my excess water and dot it on the paper towel. Now this is a Kingfisher. They usually have orange. Now this is quite the color orange. Might be a bit too bright, so I'm going to grab some of that like green blue I mixed just to tone it down. Let's see how that looks. Maybe a little too toned down. More orange. Drop it in. That does look more natural. So to get more natural looking colors to desaturate, go with the opposite color on the color wheel. So the opposite of orange is blue. And so I wanted to mix that blue-green I already had, and there we go. And I like that this is bleeding down into the beak because the bottom of that beak is orange. I don't think it's necessary for me to paint it orange for it to look good, but it is nice that it's there. There's a little bit of orange here too. And definitely the bottom part of this eye. Now this eye area is getting pretty filled. I'm going to get a thirsty brush and I'm going to lift just a little to hint that there's a nice round glassy eye right there. And it's looking like I might have made the head a little too small. The beautiful thing is that I can just go, I can make that bigger. Looks like this area got too dry. Just introduce some water. And then short strokes. Seems like it got more upwards than outwards. Cut things always look a little strange before the eyes put in. I'm gonna put blue here. Careful not to touch it to the orange too much because I do like some light bleeding, but not a ton. I'm just paying attention to my shapes. For funsies, let's drop a little green. Just went in straight for the green, popped it in. That is really interesting looking. Let's see, is any of this still wet? Just pop in some green. Well, that made it much more interesting. So I'll do it a few other places. I don't want to overdo it, but that was nice. I will say this head is looking so weird. I'm going to drag some of this color because this area is white. And this I'm going to bring up for the back of the wing. Grab a little bit of that orange because a little bit's there, but not a lot. Now we're onto the wings. The wings actually look pretty blue in color, and this area is actually white, so I'm going to use just a hint of orange, just because it's going to reflect some of that belly. Just right there. Let's go for the wings. I'm going to go straight blue. We're just going to go blue, 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 blue. And it starts down here. And I'm making these curved brush strokes in the direction that these wings would go. Just paying attention to the shape. Smoothing this out because that wing would be smooth. More water. More blue. Do it on the other side. I'm mostly using the flat end of my brush to do this. A little difficult with my webcam and the way I keep whacking it. And then the center area is a much lighter blue. So I'm going to bring in that green. Oh, won't get too much green. Blue. So I probably got the right color now, but not the right value. So I'm going to come to another one of these mixing wells and just use a lot of water. Here we go. I actually still made this bird bigger than I wanted it to be. Then we'll drop a bit of stronger color down here at the bottom. And a few spots, maybe at the top. We will make these wings darker, don't worry. Because we're going to need some form. We go back to that orange we mixed earlier. And I see off the side of this Kingfisher, I can see that orange. It's fluffy. I'm just going to put that in just where I see it. Well, honestly, there's a little bit of orange like at the bottom of the tail. Boop. There we are. All right. I loosened things up there, so I'm going to do that down here. And by that, I mean, like, I'm going to bleed some of this away. I did it in this direction up there, so I'm going to do it in this direction down here. Just like things to keep the direction. If I started, like, doing one this way and then one this way, we would lose some of the flow. It wouldn't flow as well. Alright, let's go and see if we can do something with this eye. Oh, I don't really want to use black. But maybe if I mix it with the blue. So I'm going to grab the blue, and I'm going to make a whole new well. I've got all of these wells with like different blues. And grab some of the black. I normally wouldn't do this. But I also normally don't use these paints, so here we are. Draw out the excess, and I'm just going to go in and see. Just getting an idea of what this eye looks like. Super big eye. It is round. Okay. Gonna grab my round brush and soften this outline I made to create the eye. Not bad. Gonna rinse my liner brush, and I see that there are shadows created around the eye at the socket area. So I'm just going to use my clean brush and start dragging things to create the shapes, but so they're not so harsh. This one's getting a little lost. If I need to drop in more pigment, I can. Adjust the shape. More water. Dragging it just as I see it in my reference photo. And then do that little scoop again, where I lift some of the pigment to create the glassy eye look. You lose that highlight. I don't like it. Okay, it's looking a little spooky at the moment if I do say so myself. Got a puddle of pigment here. I'm going to flip it a bit. I think I am gonna have to pull out the gouache. All right, well, let's move on to the beak. Then I'll use that same dark mixture. I was thinking about leaving it light, but now that everything else is done, I don't want to do that, so... Let's see. And the eye, it actually comes down a bit. Ooh, probably should have used my liner. That's all right. I don't like continuous lines. I'm okay with it being broken up. But I do want it to have the same intensity. Okay, that already looks a bit better. Add a little more. And it's okay to move your paper. I'm going to move my paper for a better angle. And I'm going to soften that line a bit, but I don't want it to touch this line I made. And I'm going to actually connect this line that I did make to sort of go for a lower beat. But there is orange here, and I like that, so I'm going to go grab some of this orange and pour water on my brush. And pop that in. Pop a little more orange here. Sometimes pumping up a color just looks really nice. Okay, those wings are definitely in need of more. So let's go in with the blue, just a bunch of the blue. And making these downward strokes. And having some dry brushing is kind of nice. I like dry brushing, especially for like fur and feathers. But sometimes it's a little too dry. I'm gonna move my paper because I keep hitting my webcam. Just lightly doing it at the tail. Just a few flicks in the center area. Since I've used black elsewhere, I'll go ahead and drop some of that in the feathers for more depth and dimension. Especially anywhere where I see I'm going to have more shadow. Don't be afraid to add water. It's watercolor. Water's your friend. Orange is a little less orange, so I'm going to bring in more orange. Use more orange. Okay, let's add some foliage, I think. So I'm going to grab the green. Oh, that's a lot of green. And this last well up here. But that's going to be a very bright green. Let's tone it down. Let's try with some orange. And I'll wash that out later because that is now contaminated. Let's see. Wet my brush. And is this dry? It's mostly dry. It is sitting on a branch. And this green is much more natural than the green that comes straight out of the pan. A little bit of orange. Oh, it looks lovely. That looks quite natural. You give it some leaves too. So cast some. Here. There is a twig that comes this way, but I feel like that's going to ruin the flow, so I'm going to leave it. But I am going to add some leaves up here, because there totally are. And then I'm going to just bleed it. I'm going to bleed this down here too. So I don't want too much of it to be in focus. Don't bleed everything away, because then you'll just have color blobs. All right, let's see if we can fix this eye up. Liner brush. It's still a bit wet. Oof, definitely looks like a black hole of an eye. So I'm just going to use a little bit of my paper towel, and I'm going to go boop at the bottom. Now it looks dead inside, so maybe I'm having a lot of trouble making my eyes. That might be something where I'm going to have to pull out some gouache and see if I can save it. I think otherwise I would call it here. Maybe add a little bit of depth to these leaves. Just flick in a little more of that blue, that bluer green. Use my water to maybe lift, so there's variation. Don't want anything to be flat. Speaking of lifting for variation, let's see. Maybe lift some of these feathers. Can, but not super well. So I'm not a very super patient painter, which is probably why I like to paint loose. And I'm just going to lift some more. These wings are looking kind of flat. Now I've just got a clean, thirsty brush, and I'm stroking repeatedly in the same spot to try and lighten the area a bit, give my Kingfisher some more form. You glaze down here. And salted. Okay, I think I'm going to let this dry and then pull out the gouache and see if that can give us a bit of life in the eye, and then we should be done. All right, I just went ahead and hit it with a blow dryer. I'm going to pull out my liner brush, and I've got some gouache, and I'm just going to go straight out of the tube. See if I can make this eye come to life. Give it a little highlight. Already much better. Let's give it like that little shine more. Much better. A bit one at the top too, maybe just a few dots. All right, that already looks much better. A little odd though, because the eye's actually looking good and the rest of it's looking, you know, like a really loose, fun painting. Let's add a little shine. Maybe get the beak right here. Nope, my brush was too dry. Add some water. That place probably wasn't the best idea, but I'm gonna keep going. The wings have like little dots on them, so I'm gonna add a few of those. Gonna get my brush a little more wet. And I'm gonna do some little flick marks on its back because the back looks really iridescent. And I didn't really achieve that. Oh, you know what might have been fun to do? I should have tried dropping salt on and see what happened. Bring a little bit of white here, because this area actually is supposed to be white. And bring some too. Now I'm not doing this to correct necessarily. By putting some white on top, it now turns that blue area into a shadow, which is pretty great. Gives a little more dimension to the bird. Needs to be a little wetter though. All right, anywhere else? Anywhere where I see there's actually some white right here in the eye area. That looks good. And just a few like dots down here, because the dots up here are actually repeated down here a bit, but I didn't get that in, so I'll just add those dots. All right. All right, I think it looks good. So here is a loose Kingfisher where we used the PRANG watercolor paints, but whatever brushes I had on hand instead of what it came with. And I used the wells for mixing to get colors that weren't so incredibly vibrant. So anyway, there you go. If you liked this video, press that like button so I know to make more like this, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more, because I post videos every Monday and Thursday. So thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye.